your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait. Another day goes by, and still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. You want the world to know we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. You just wait. I see your heart. Put a little love in 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 your heart. Oh, why don't you put a little love in your heart? The world needs your love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Why don't you put a little love? We need your love. Put a little
Please, let's give another round of applause to the maestro himself, Mr. Leo Stanley, and the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Choir. Good evening, Mayor Soglin, State Representative and County Supervisor Sheila Stubbs, honored guests and all who have come out and braved the cold temperatures to be here with us tonight. My name is Ed Holmes, and I am the Director of Diversity and Inclusion here at Overture Center for tonight. Also a career educator. On behalf of Madison and Dane County Martin Luther King Jr. Coalition, I would like to welcome you to this 34th annual observance honoring the lifetimes and legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his commitment to freedom, justice, equality, and peace for all of humanity. Our theme this year is Brown versus Board of Education, the legacy continues. Now, I must say that I was honored to be asked to come in and host tonight, but a little surprised when the coordinators said they would give me 3 to 5 minutes to make some comment. The only people that I know in my experience that are worse than educators, that are storytellers, that are worse at brevity than myself and other educators, okay, you can guess, Baptists and Pentecostal preachers and politicians. I don't mean to offend anyone. So I will try to stay the course and be mindful that I am here to host and make sure that the program runs smoothly. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., regarded as one of the greatest orators of the last 100 years. Nobel Peace Prize winner, fourth-generation Baptist preacher, man of God, civil rights leader, a humanitarian who believed in changing the status quo by making change using the strategy of nonviolent, peaceful protest. I was there. I was 9 years old. I was standing in my living room, Washington, D.C., in front of a black and white television with a metal coat hanger for an antenna. You all know what I'm talking about. When we got the news, Martin Luther King had been assassinated. I remember my mother walking into the living room with tears streaming down her face. And I wonder, why would anyone want to kill a king? Why would anyone want to kill Dr. King? There was a brief but collective, deafening silence of our nation and the deep grief and pain of family members, friends, and the collective national community. It was a difficult time. Many people asked the question, well, what will we do now? And this must be the educator in me, because this is the type of story, this indelible story that has impacted my life. This is the type of story I would take to the classroom and challenge my students. Students in here got real quiet. And I would pose the question like this. What would Martin say if he were here today? You know, just to get their attention. What would he say about national political leadership today? What would he say about a social media tweet from the President of the United States at 3 a.m. in the morning? About an issue that had nothing to do with his leadership or the well-being of the country? Having done the research myself first, I would know the answer. But he would say an individual has not started living until he can rise above the narrow confines of his individualistic concerns to the broader concerns of all humanity. He would say, rarely do we find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking. There's an almost universal quest for easy answers, half-baked solutions. Nothing pains some people more than having to think. I would continue my query of my students. What would Martin say if he were here today about moving our ideals from freedom, justice, and equality to equity, diversity, and inclusion, when we haven't yet achieved freedom, justice, and equality, which is the bedrock and the core value of this country? It is what this country is founded on. These are the ideals found in the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. Well, I know he would say, change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. He would say, we must not forget what is at the core of our democracy. He would say, we can't have equity, diversity, and inclusion unless we first have freedom, justice, and equality. Y'all don't hear me. He would say, we must come to see that the end we seek is a society at peace with itself, a society that can live with its conscience. I will continue my query with a topic that is prevalent in the headlines today, an issue that is of national importance. So my students would be asked to watch the news, read publications, and find as much information as they could. What would Martin say if he were to hear today about the inhumanity of holding over 3 million Americans in emotional, psychological, and economic bondage in an unnecessary shutdown of the federal government that has been the longest shutdown in our nation's history? You see, it is not just the federal government workers that are in peril, but every family member that depends on the income of the federal government worker to sustain itself. Their home, their food, their education, health care, and all the basic day-to-day needs of both the nuclear and extended family. Well, I know Martin would say there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must take a position conscience tells him it's right. He would say we are prone to judge success by the index of our salaries or the size of our automobiles rather than by the quality of our service and relationship to mankind. In the shutdown of our federal government now, release our federal workers and their families from unnecessary economic hardship. Further, he would say we must find a way to preserve human dignity and the positive spirit of our Latino brothers and sisters, keep their families together. Finally, I would end my query because I wouldn't want to give my students too much and overwhelm them. I would say to them, what would Martin say if he were here today about the industrial prison complex that has imprisoned more African Americans, especially African American men, than the number of slaves held in captivity in 1850, a decade before the Civil War? I would drop names like Ava DuVernay in her documentary entitled The 13th. I would mention Michelle Alexander, critically acclaimed author and legal scholar. Wouldn't tell them what's done, but I'd make them come back and tell me. I would mention Keith McQuarter in his documentary entitled 53206. Those are extended and extra credit assignments. We have to hold our students to high expectations. I would say again, what would Martin say if he were here today? And I know he would say, injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. He would say our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. He would say we must accept finite disappointment but never lose infinite hope. He would say the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. He would say, stay the course. We have to be steadfast in our conviction. We cannot give up on America. We have to find a way to hold our politicians accountable and have them do what is right for the people they took the oath of office to serve and defend. You see, Dr. King left us with his roadmap, and it is up to us to find the path that allows us to live out his dream. Thank you. I think that was 6 minutes, but I hope they pardon me for that. Tonight's program is a dedication to the memory of Dr. Mercille Lee. Mercille was a founding member of the King Coalition and she remained active with the coalition throughout her life. Mercille stood as a giant and a visionary in education and service, and her extraordinary life's work left an indelible footprint in the lives of her students, colleagues, neighbors, friends, family, and all who came in contact with her. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was one of her early mentors. The impact that had on her life's work was profound. You can see it in the career path she chose, which eventually led her to the University of Wisconsin, where she created and led the Chancellor's and the Powers Knapp Scholars Program. More than 2,600 students walked through the doors of academic opportunity and received her guidance, nurturing, and sometimes tough love, which I was the recipient of. She volunteered with numerous community organizations, and she served for 34 years on the Martin Luther King Jr. King Coalition for Madison and Dane County. In addition to this city-county program, she was always an advocate for the group to find ways to include youth in the King holiday observances through programs such as the Youth Day of Service. She never forgot the deep root that the civil rights movement had in the church. And so she played an integral part in the annual King Coalition ecumenical service. She felt strongly that honoring Dr. King's memory should be more than just a one-day program or event. She advocated strongly for ideas like adding the call to action to tonight's program as a means to engage the community around Dr. King's legacy throughout the year. Mercille's presence is missed tonight, but I have no doubt she is here with us in spirit, and that the important work she did will live on through the many others she has influenced throughout her life. Ms. Mercille Lee. Each of you should have a copy of the program to follow along with us tonight. Your program also contains an insert with the lyric to Lift Every Voice and Sing, and a call to action form which we will be collecting during the call to action portion of the program, along with donations to help with continued relief efforts in Puerto Rico and support the Mercille Lee Chancellor Scholarship Fund. At this time, I ask that we all stand and join the choir in the singing of Lift Every Voice and Sing. Thank you.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing arise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the darkness has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the testing
that the tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our ears, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast died thy let us into the light. Keep us forever the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places our wine of been led. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, shadowed beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native
Wonderful. Thank you, Martin Luther King Jr. Community Choir. At this time, I would like to invite Minister Janice Tolliver to the podium to provide the invocation. Minister Tolliver represents Christ the Solid Rock Baptist Church, which generously co-hosted a wonderful ecumenical service yesterday in partnership with the King Coalition and Lake Edge Lutheran Church. Following the invocation, speakers will proceed as outlined in your program. This will include a selection from the Martin Luther King Jr. Community Choir and a performance by Renee Robinson, standing in for Ms. Tamara Stanley. One of Dr. King's favorite hymns, If I Can Help Somebody. Say that again, everybody. If I can help somebody. I just like the way that sounds. I'm not called to preach, but I have a moment every now and then. Thank you. Well, some say, don't play with me. Okay, let me get back on track here. This was one of the choir selection this year in honor also of Mercia Lee. I'll be back a little bit later with the introduction of our keynote address.
Good evening. Let us all take a cleansing breath. Feel good, didn't it? If you would please join me in this invocation by opening your heart, bowing your head. Holy Father, we are present before you, thankful and grateful for a time such as this. Oh God, we ask that you would be present among us. Father, that you would fill our hearts with the purpose of believing. Father, that you would fill our minds with the direction we must go. I ask God right now that you would have your way in this place. Father, bless it from the rooftop to the rafters. Bless those, God, who have planned this event. Bless every mind and heart and creative being that has invested into this time. Father, bless all those who are under the sound of my voice. Fill their hearts with hope. Father, because we know that whatever darkness we travel through, there will always be light on the other side. Father, we love you and we thank you and we invite you into this place, in this hour. Oh God, we thank you for giving us one such as Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Oh God, we thank you for his march. We thank you for his purpose, and we thank you for that his memory lives on. Oh God, we ask that you would bless the souls of those who have given their lives for this fight. Oh God, we ask that you would have your way and make the purpose known and executed. God, we ask that as we leave this place, we leave with the knowledge that there is much, much more work to do. And we leave with the knowledge that we cannot do it without each other. Father, have your way as only you can. Bless those who will receive awards on tonight, God. It is a mere thank you for all that they have done. Father, we ask that you bless the speaker of the hour. She has traveled far. We ask, God, that you fill her heart as she speaks the words into the hearts of us. We thank you, Father, for who you are and what you are. We know that we would not be here without you. We thank you. We honor you. In Jesus' name, let us all say, amen.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody he is traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, my living shall not be in vain. Oh, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, then my living shall not than my living. Oh, said my living. Oh, then you're living, you're living, you're living. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, it won't be in vain. Your living, it won't be in vain. It won't be in vain. It won't be in vain. Oh, then my living shall not be in vain.
Well, good evening, and it is a great evening. We woke up yesterday morning to go to breakfast. It was below zero, and we knew it was the Sunday morning before Dr. King's birthday. Before I share a few thoughts and comments and an introduction with you, first, I'd like to thank Dr. Holmes for those really great words, that inspiring message as we go forward into a very difficult time. Every year we have the community choir with us, and our thanks to you. And my thanks to Leotha Stanley. Who taught our oldest daughter how to sing. And not that I'm a proud father, but I have to say he did a marvelous job. She's done some wonderful things with her voice. Thanks to the work done, not just with her, but with so many young people in our community. Tomorrow, I'm going to be traveling with several hundred mayors to Washington, D.C. to start our January conference. The theme of it is to reopen the government. We're going to address the issue of terrorism, namely, someone who would trade a wall for the safety and the comfort and the hopes and dreams of so many wonderful young people here in the United States and trying to come to this country. We're going to be concerned about those government workers. I'm not sure how much time it's going to take to make it from here. The problems that'll be going through security with TSA, but there are more important things on our mind. This past week, our city staff, joining with the county, has begun the process of preparing for how we're going to ensure that every family that's eligible for SNAP, that's eligible for WIC, that is in publicly supported housing, does not have to worry if the shutdown could continue through the month of February. And I know that our U.S. Senator, Tammy Baldwin, is going to be working feverishly with her colleagues in the Senate to make sure that when we meet the obligation of the federal government that Donald Trump refuses, that we will be properly reimbursed. Now, a number of years ago, there were so many issues and concerns on our mind. Issues of disparity, gaps in success in regards to education and income, what children do when they're out of school. And one of those concerns was highlighted by an organization called Cities Unite that was specifically focused on the situation, the condition of young African American men in this country. It was their work that led to the inspiration of President Obama to launch My Brother's Keeper. I want you to think back to May of 2016 and count 15 months forward to August of 2007. During that time, 14 young African American men were involved in tragedies of homicide. Most instances, they were both the assailant and the victim. In the 15 months since August 4th of 2017, there have been 3 such tragedies. We went from 15 to 3. We won't be satisfied until that number is 0. That significant decline was not an accident. It was the result of a group of people meeting with Deputy Mayor Gloria Reyes, the Focused Interruption Coalition, some wonderful people from the Dane County government, working with the support and the encouragement from Reverend Alex G., Nehemiah Foundation. They spent from January 1st of 2017 to the next full 6 months developing what we've come to call our peer support program. That peer support program had to gain the support and the trust of the Madison Police Department, which it did. It had to create something we had never seen before, but which we knew instinctively and logically that if we had the right men and women engaged in the community, going to a situation where violence occurred, to intersect with the victims, their families, their friends, the witnesses, the assailant, that the outcomes could be changed. But it takes someone with a commitment and faith of their own to actually make that happen. Our honoree is going to tell you, and rightfully, that he did not do this alone. But I want to say that he gained the trust and confidence of all of us. And the way we thank the Focused Interruption Coalition and Zachary Cooper, Coop, the way we thank you is to ask you to do more. And so the mission's expanded. Why wait for violence? Let's go out now and find the disengaged young men and some disengaged young women who can't find a path of hope and belief in themselves. We've done a lot of good things in this community, but there's nothing more important than the preservation of sacred life. And with that, I can't tell you how honored I am, how honored all of us who've worked with Coop are to share with you tonight recognition of the work that has been done and the work that will be done. Please join with me in welcoming this year's Humanitarian Award winner, the modest, the tiny, the lovely Cooper. I said, I cannot tell you how embarrassed I am. Anthony Cooper, Sr., for making outstanding contributions in our community while exemplifying the true legacy of Dr. King. To quote the Reverend Dr. King, the time is always right to do the right thing. Anthony Coop.
Thank you.
You can say it again, Coop, Coop.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. First, I want to give honor to God because I know without God, I would not be here, period. I want to thank my beautiful wife for always supporting me, always praying for me. Oh, she has been a prayer warrior where at times I didn't know what to do. I want to thank my beautiful, wonderful mother, my mom, Benita Cooper. My mom, I'm telling y'all, when I say a woman who is strong, has been independent, has did a marvelous job raising my sister and I. And Mom, it's something that I know I've told you this a million times, but the thing is, the bad choices I made as a younger man, those were not your fault. The choices that I've made now in my life to be able to change and be who I am now, Mom, that's all your fault. It's all your fault. I want to thank both my sons, Anthony Cooper Jr., who was away in the Navy, and my youngest son, Akeem Cooper. Sons, y'all are my angels. I'm telling y'all, a part of my change was based on them. If I did not have them, I don't know what I would have did. Because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to be that dad that they came to visit in prison. I want to also thank my brothers and my sisters, the ones that have prayed with me, cried with me at times that were, I don't really want to say who they are because they know too many things about me. And also I want to make sure I thank Pastor Alex G., who not only was my pastor but also my CEO. Because I honestly, there was times where I had to go to him, and there was times where, and not to say that we always saw eye to eye about stuff as well, but it's something different about when you can share your truth with somebody, and for them to share their truth with you as well. But then at the end of the day, you can balance things out and make sure that you can keep moving forward, because at the end of because we want to make sure our community is doing its best. I'll be remiss if I did not say anything to my Focus Interruption Coalition brothers and sisters that we end up hiring some new people with us. What I say that these people, and yes, I said these people, right? They have that all of them, every single last one of them should be on the side of me, because they all want to be able to do something different from the community, in the community. They want their light to shine because they've been there, done that, and now want to see it not to continue to happen over and over and over again, because we've all been through the same process and was tired of it. I cannot, I got to make sure, I think Mayor Soglin, Joe Parisi, I know that, I know he wanted to be here, is not able to be here today. Because the same, we've had tough conversations, but because we want the best for the community, we're able to sit down, talk about it, and go forward for our community, not for just one person, but for everyone. And again, I got to make sure that I say thank you to the city and county MLK Commission for just honoring me with this award. I want to say thank you because honestly, when I got the call, I was like, who, me? Like, I thought they were talking about somebody else. You know, I was like, no, not me. You know, probably, maybe you want me to pass this on to somebody else or whatever. I want to make sure that I add this on here as far as just saying that. So it's been 20 years since my sentencing. I still remember as though like it was yesterday when I felt ashamed and lost and didn't know how to figure it out. Didn't know how, I wanted to stop it with me. I didn't want my sons to be able to follow me in prison. My sons came to visit me, and while they came to visit me, they didn't want to leave. They were babies, because that was the only time I was ever away from them. But then that was also the reflection time for me that where I really seen that everything that I do, it reflects everyone who's connected to me. And them. Him, my other son, again, like I said, is in the Navy. It made me think about life differently. As the men that I was incarcerated with, some of those men, that was the only time that they've actually been able to actually sit down and hang out with their son. The only relationship that they ever truly had was when their mom or someone was to bring them to prison. So what do you think is going to happen? That becomes normal. That becomes something that is so regular for them, so they follow suit. Now, Dad, I'm here with you in prison, being told what to do, how to do it, what I can eat, what I can't, and never really truly enjoy what life has to offer. I can't say this enough. There are so many men and women that may have a prison record. If the community keeps on punishing them for something that they may have served their time for, over and over again, how do you think that they're going to get over it or to be able to go forward, to be able to do something different for their lives and their families' lives? How are they going to be able to do it? Because if we're being honest with ourselves, there's not a person on this earth that has not done wrong in one way or another. Some have not just even been caught up for it yet. And some may never get caught for it. But I just want you all to think about that as well. So I just want to just share just a little bit of my journey. Eventually, for me, I actually ended up going, I dropped out of school young, just, was young and dumb and just, got caught up in the street life. And again, Mom, none of that was your fault. Once I was released, I knew that, one, I had to get my high school diploma before, because if I didn't, eventually my sons would have had their high school diploma before me. So I had to be the example. Then after I got my high school diploma from Omega School, then eventually I ended up going to Madison College, took different certificates and started learning like, hey, you know what, this is possible. This is something that I can do. So then eventually, God opened up a door where I was able to help people with disabilities find jobs in the community. To be able to not only help them, but also see them all the way through. But for some, actually, most of that was from my own experience. So I had to figure out how to navigate the system. It was easy for me to be able to hold someone else's hand and do the same. So in that, I ended up figuring out that really sparked something for me, that service was a gift that God given me. Service is really in my heart, and I view service as an act of life. We are all put on this earth to serve and to learn from each other, no matter what color that you are. I've been lucky enough to be able to serve others through my passion for helping formerly incarcerated men and women. Even in my shortcomings, I learned doing the right thing for the right reasons will get the right results. At FOL, Fountain of Life, we say we enter to worship and exit to serve. So today, I encourage all of you to do something to help the community. Everything is not about the dollar. Sometimes it can be just a simple hello, and letting someone know that you love them, or letting someone know that you care. So, in closing, I would like to share with you one of my favorite quotes by Dr. Martin Luther King. And it goes like this, right? Everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love to serve. By Dr. Martin Luther King. Again, I thank you all, and I appreciate just the opportunity to be in front of you all. Thank you.
Congratulations, Brother Cooper. Dane County Executive Joseph Parisi sends his regards as he is unable to be in attendance. He did reach out to me personally and asked me tonight to stand in his place. For those who don't know me, my name is Sheila Stubbs. I am a Dane County Board Supervisor. Yes. I represent District 23, which is South Madison, and I'm a newly elected state representative. Yes. Yes. I represent Assembly District 77, which is the south and west sections of Madison, and the first African American to ever be elected to the state legislature. Yes. It's an honor. Only God can do this. Thank you. Thank you. Won't he do it? Okay. Yes. It's truly an honor. It's humbling, and at times it's quite overwhelming. But I give God all the glory and all the honor and all the praise. This evening, I have the distinct honor and opportunity to give an award out tonight. Our recipient is Shayla Glass, and she is a Dane County force to be recognized. Shayla is currently an educator in the Verona Area School District at Badger Ridge Middle School, where she teaches 7th grade language arts and social studies. Over the past 3 years, Shayla has been an educator. She has co-founded the Black Equity Council at Badger Ridge Middle School to address academic and disparities, along with discipline disparities. She serves as the Social Studies Department Chair and joined the Circles of Support program as the lead 7th and 8th grade Black Girls Group Facilitator, coach for the African American History Bowl Challenge, and served as a Strategic Planning Committee member to assist with equity and success for all students. Prior to teaching, Shayla was a People's Program Scholar and a recipient, absolutely, and a recipient of the Patricia Buchanan and George Koppel scholarships. She attended the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where she earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in elementary education with minors in English and creative writing. Shayla is currently working towards her master's degree in education leadership and policy analysis. She is an active member of her church and the Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. All right. Though young, Shayla is accomplished and is an inspiration to all ages. It gives Dane County great pleasure to award the Martin Luther King Jr. Humanitarian Award to Shayla Glass. Can we all stand as Shayla comes to receive this award? Shayla Glass. You want to shake their hand? And shake the hands of the mayor. Shake their hands. Mom, this is all yours. Thank you. Got it?
Wow. How do I follow up after Cooper? No, but first I want to thank my church family, Northside Christian Assembly, for nominating me. I had no idea that this was coming, so I am eternally grateful. I also want to thank my fiance for your everlasting support. Love you. Thank you to the Verona Area School District for believing in me and supporting me. Thank you to the City and County Commission as well for this award. And thank you to my family who couldn't be here tonight. I'm from Racine, so they couldn't travel today. So I just do want to thank them as well. But first and foremost, I would like to thank God for guiding me to my purpose. I wasn't always on this path, so I'm truly thankful to be where I am today, especially when it comes to tackling racial equity and social justice in Dane County. It is truly an honor to receive this award in the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But most of all, this award is a perfect reminder to keep working because this work is lifelong. It's a reminder that late nights and persistence to improve the lives of others doesn't go unnoticed, just like Dr. King. But my main message is this: to the younger ones out there like me, you don't have to be a celebrity, over the age of 30, a popular city figure, or the head of any organization to inspire someone else and lead. You can be right where your purpose has led you to be to make a difference within the sphere of your influence. So I'd like to thank you for this honorable award and reminder to commit to my lifelong purpose of teaching, learning, advocating, and serving, whether that's in the classroom with my 7th graders, coaching basketball, or any other position that I'll find myself in, because I have a lot of life left. Thank you.
When you've done all you can, and it seems like it's never enough. And what do you say when your friends walk away? You're all alone, alone. Tell me, what do you give when you've given your all, and it seems like you can't make it through? Well, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand and watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle the guilt of your past? Tell me, how do you deal with the shame? And how do you smile when your heart has been broken and filled with pain, filled with pain? Tell me, what do you give when you give in your all, and it seems like you can't make it through? Child, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand and be sure, be not entangled from the bondage again. You just stand and endure. God has a purpose. Yes, God has a plan. Tell me, what do you do when you've done all you can, and it seems like you just can't make it through? Child, you just stand. You just stand. You just stand and glad and know. You just stand. Stand through the storm. Stand through the hurt. You stand through the pain. Don't you bow and don't you bend. Don't you give up. Don't you give in. Don't be strong. You be still. God will step in. It won't be long. No, no. After you've done all you can. After you've done all you can. After you've gone through the hurt. After you've gone through the pain. After you've gone through the storm. After you've gone through. Praise and cry. After you've gone through the rain, after you've gone through so much pain, you gotta stand for peace. You must stand for justice. Everybody, we gotta stand for freedom. We must stand. We must stand. You must stand. If nobody else will stand with you, you must stand. After you've done all you can. After you've done all you can. After you've done all you can, you just stand. Oh, you just stand.
Can you turn the house lights up a little? Just want to see the expression on faces when. Amen, amen. How many of you seen that movie, The Greatest Showman? Not many? Okay, now you got to go look at it. Because once you hear this song, you got to say, I want to hear that again. And this is Jalen on the drums. We never get to introduce the piano. Actually, piano, drums, guitar, and bass. That's Jalen McCullough. We have Zane Growth. Zane. And then we have Vanessa McDowell on the bass guitar. So we would like some audience participation on this song. So be ready, okay? Be ready. I want to hear your voices. I want to hear the best singer out there. And who is that? Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, 'cause we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Turn away, they say, no one will love you as you are. Won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This this is me. Another round of bullets hits my skin. We'll fire away, 'cause today I won't let the shame sink in. We are bursting through the barricades, reach above the sun. Yeah, that's what we become. Won't let them break me down. I know that there's a place for your glory, God. The sharpest words gonna cut me down. Hey, hey, hey. The sacred love gonna drown them out. Hey, hey, hey. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. Hey, hey, hey. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. Hey, hey, hey. Not scared, I'll be seen. This is me. This is me. And I know that I deserve your love. There's nothing I'm not worthy of. When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flag, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come. Look out, 'cause here I come. And I'm marching out to the beat I drum. And none of the words gonna cut me down. I'm gonna send a flood, and I'm gonna drown them out. This is me. I'm gonna send a flood, and I'm gonna drown them out. This is me. This is me.
So how many people in here feeling a little uplifted right now? Let's give us a big round of applause. Next, I would like to invite to the podium James Howard, a current member and former president of the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education. Gloria Reyes, also a current member of the Madison Metropolitan School District Board of Education, and Marilyn Ruffin, a member of the Sun Prairie Area School District Board of Education. Having seen our education system up close, I can't tell you how important it is to have strong leaders, people of color from diverse backgrounds in our local boards of education. They bring a much-needed perspective to the table, especially given the charge of our schools today. It is every parent's expectation that their child, regardless of race, religion, or socioeconomic background, be afforded a quality of equitable education that prepares them for a successful future, no matter what their child's dreams or aspirations may be. Please come to the podium. Thank you for your service.
Good evening, everyone. If you want to stand, please. The Litany of Rededication is based on the key words and principles of Dr. King. It was written by Reverend Mark Klinger, senior pastor of First Baptist Church and longtime member of the King Coalition. We start off. We pledge ourselves to the American promise that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
We pledge to live in mutual cooperation with all brothers and sisters. We will weave our lives together into a single garment of destiny.
We will avoid the use of violence within our world, our nation, our country, our city, our neighborhood, our home, and our family. We will harbor no hatred within our hearts.
We will seek peaceful solutions to every conflict and will preserve and protect the dignity and worth of every person. We will not cooperate with evil. Neither will we be patient with injustice. Now is the time for us to do what is right. We will treat every person as being of infinite value and intrinsic worth. We will never use another soul as a means to our own advancement.
We will keep our hope alive in our hearts. We believe that the universe is on the side of justice. We believe that truth is stronger than evil.
We believe that this is no time for our apathy, silence, or complacency. We must work with increasingly to lift this nation and love to a higher destiny. This is time for our vigorous and positive action, so we pledge to lift high and banner peace, justice, reconciliation, and beloved community in our day and in this community.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. So thank you so much. As we reflect on Ms. Brown Henderson's words and on the powerful sentiments expressed in the Litany of Rededication, the King Coalition encourages you to ponder ways that you can act to affect positive change in your communities. The ways in which you can advance the movement for civil and human rights is in the spirit of Martin Luther King, Cheryl Brown Henderson, and many other civil rights leaders. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Dr. Marcille J. Lee. I was a Chancellor Scholar, and she brought me from the city of Milwaukee to Madison, Wisconsin to receive my education. And as Ed Holmes mentioned, 2,600 scholars have passed through this program. When you think about the impact that Dr. Lee left on each one of those scholars and the pure exponential effect that each one of those scholars had on others in their community, the possibilities are limitless. It's infinite, really. One of the things that Dr. Lee taught was scholarship, leadership, and service. I was called by Marcille to come down to a funeral of a friend of mine's father in Milwaukee to drive her there. And as we drove, she talked about how she met Dr. King, what Dr. King taught her, and the impact that he left on her. And it wasn't until about 10 years later when I worked for the programs, working with scholars themselves, that I actually realized how that dream was actually manifested. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, one of the most segregated cities in the United States. And my family is from the island of Puerto Rico, the oldest colony still in existence in the world. It's still under the colonization of the United States of America. Its citizens cannot vote for the President of the United States. And for over a century, it has experienced the effects of sterilization of women, including my grandmother after the birth of my mother. It's seen the effects of Hurricane Maria. It's seen the effects of the Promesa bill, which dropped the minimum wage to $4.25 for people under the age of 25. And it's seen the closing of schools, including the many schools within the University of Puerto Rico system and elementary, middle schools, and high schools, where many people, including family members of mine, have to drive over an hour to send their children to school. Last year, after Hurricane Maria, 40 volunteers with the Puerto Rico Relief Fund of South Central Wisconsin galvanized and raised almost $100,000, distributed those funds to 13 organizations on the island. And last year at the MLK celebration, you were asked to give to the Puerto Rico Relief Fund and support those organizations that we were able to give back to. The fund has since closed after it's given its funds to those organizations, but some of the organizations were not funded. And one of those I would like to ask you to support tonight, in addition to the Mercille J. Lee Scholarship Fund. That organization is the Puerto Rico School Gardens Network. Agriculture is a huge part of the island. Many of our ancestors lived off the land, and many of my family members and people on the island still do live off the land. This organization works with school children and is based out of the University of Puerto Rico, Utuado, one of the hardest hit areas by the hurricane, and an agricultural center of the island. It provides that education, and it also provides the ability for folks to be able to grow off the land. So I ask you to look at the plates that are being handed out and consider giving as much as you can to support both the growth of scholars who affect change, as well as American citizens on the island of Puerto Rico, in order for us to be able to retake our destiny. So half of these proceeds will be split between these two organizations. What I would also ask is that there are many benefits to giving and volunteering and giving your time. So I ask that you stop at the Wisconsin Justice Network and United Way of Dane County tables outside and consider how you can advocate, give, and serve. Thank you.
So this is not on my program. Do the lights come up so we can, somebody please turn up the lights? Is there someone coming around to, come on, Deltas, say something, Deltas. I need to know what's going on. Do we have people? Wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know this really does feel like church in here tonight, I tell you. Maestro, can we have some music, please? So we've had testimony service tonight, awards and recognitions. We've been uplifted by musical selections, incredible words from our keynote speaker, Ms. Cheryl Brown Henderson. Now, Maestro, he just asked me to sing something. I don't want to ruin the program for everyone. How we doing, Deltas? Are we okay? Okay. I know it's been a long evening. I'm going to make a few closing remarks. In closing, I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight and braving the frigid temperatures. A special thank you to our keynote speaker, Ms. Cheryl Brown Henderson. Thank you for being here tonight with us and offering those inspiring words. I want to also say a special thank you to the coordinators of tonight's program, Ed Lee and Gloria Hawkins, the co-chairs of the Madison-Dane County Martin Luther King Jr. Coalition, and all the members of the coalition who made tonight possible. Let's give them a big round of applause. Clearly, it is up to us to continue to honor Dr. King's life and legacy. I suggest the best way we do that is by taking action, because Dr. King was a man of action, and it was the only way he could see how his dream for this nation would ever become a reality. Please stand and join hands as we sing, "We Shall Overcome."